Hey all, Times here, back playing some more Planet Zoo, and I'm back in Zimba Zoo for episode 3 of this one. This African, kind of little scruffy looking, but deliberately kind of modern African zoo. I think I said it was supposed to be set in Namibia or Zambia, I can't even really remember. But yeah, it's coming along, episode 3. We've been working on this one on stream for a little while. There is a bunch of things kind of a little bit out of sync in this one because we've been working on this on stream, and so what you're seeing in the videos is a little bit out of sync of what's actually kind of happening in the zoo as a whole. But what I've tried to do is break it down into these particular habitats, so you can see some stuff with in the background there which you won't have seen before. We've got an elephant habitat. That was one of my one-off habitats that I've brought in and done some work and some tweaks on that. So there's quite a lot going on in this one. It moves pretty quickly as usual. Speed build at the front, real-time tour at the back, and there is a bunch of details as usual not being shown in the speed build. It ended up being about 3 or 4 different streams going into this one. If you want to see all the full details, then do feel free to watch the actual stream VODs. They're still up on the channel. Tigwoodle will be returning soon as well. I've been doing both of these kind of running at the same time. Apologies, there's a little bit of a gap at the moment in my kind of my regular schedule. I'm not cranking the videos out quite as quickly as I was before. I think Planet Zoo is always, and the summer in general, is a little bit of a quiet time for content. So that and a bunch of things going on for me IRL at the moment, just making it a little bit harder to get the time to do some video content. So a few things going on in this one. As I said, there's we're working currently on a flamingo habitat. You'll see me doing various different stages of landscaping and terrain work and all that sort of thing. Currently we are building the flamingo shelter. So this is from a kit that I've built previously that I used around the front entrance, around the bus shelter. So I've just kind of adapted that one for this, and it's supposed to be pretty simple. It's supposed to be just a basic kind of shelter. It ends up actually being where we hide the gate. I had trouble with hiding the actual habitat gate for quite some time, so I ended up hiding it inside this building. So I did a bit of sort of truss work. It's something that definitely always adds a bit more realism to a building if you can kind of try and spend some time working out how the roof would be supported and add in those sorts of trusses and supports in, those beams in. It ends up kind of, I always feel it ends up elevating your build quite a bit. So we are adding now a little deck around this. I spent a long time trying to get this right. This took a while. It took us a bit of time on stream to get this deck to be actually usable by the keepers and the flamingos, because I wanted the keepers, as I said, I wanted the entrance to the habitat kind of hidden away. Now working on the lower layer. So as you can see there, there's like this separating gabion wall which is all custom built, and between this top tier and the lower tier, and this is all really because I've got this quite significant height transition up to where the elephants are going to end up being, which is the top of that path. So I had this kind of vision in my head of there being basically being this kind of slope down, and then there's 2 layers where you've got the flamingos up in the top pool, which is very much the kind of man-made pool, and then this much more kind of rustic looking pool at the bottom. And I think it ends up working out quite well. Obviously, we'll see it all when we do the walk round. But adding a load of foliage in, again, keeping the common palette that I've used back at the entrance there. Oh, this was quite a nice little detail. I've done a load of path work that you'll see again. We'll see that properly in a bit. But I did this right at the end of the stream. It's supposed to be like a water. This little sprinklers are there, so that's quite a lush little flower bed. So I added a sprinkler in and tried to make it look like that it was all kind of wet around there. So now breaking this off, you see, it's obviously jumped forward quite a lot, but you can see in the background there's the 2 tiers. Adding this fence in, And I think actually doing something like that where you've you can see it's quite a significant height transition, but softening it all off and having that transition happen within the habitat and having a lot of rock work really kind of just breaks up the significance of that slope, sort of hides it away. Pulled in the shader from the Babirusa habitat. I think that Babirusa habitat is probably going to end up being repurposed for this zoo, maybe as a warthog or something. So yeah, this is the lower viewing section. There's actually 3 viewing sections. I think really pretty much only you're going to see in the speed build, only see me build like that one and a little bit of the third one. I went to town a bit as ever with the temple rubble, so here's me kind of filling this all in. I just really wanted it all to look a bit kind of marshy and a bit swampy, and like it was kind of pools of rock pools and things down here. That was the idea at the bottom section. And there's a few places where I've got these kind of what's supposed to look like swamp sections. It's all deliberately supposed to look fairly kind of man-made and stuff, which is why I've used the faux rocks a lot. And that's it dry, but when we eventually finish it, it's all filled in with water down there, or quite a lot of water. Creating the top boundary then, so going back and adding some of these rocks in. Again, a bit more gravel. And we just feel it, I don't know, it just always feels like it elevates the build if you just do, keep doing. I've said this before a bunch of times, but my inability to know when to stop is always a positive and a negative. So we've now got this. This is the third viewing area. So you've missed a lot of me kind of putting in this various different flower beds and things. This is quite ornate, and again, because I've put the mulch down, I can kind of go to town. I feel like I can kind of go to town a little bit with it being a bit greener and a bit more lush in there. So this is supposed to be for that. This is supposed to be where they're viewing. Guests can sit in the shade and view the top of the habitat, because you don't really get that view from the lower section. It's all kind of obscured by the rocks and things. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with this little section up here. Ends up being quite sweet. I think we did this over one stream. A couple of custom benches there. I think I'll have a link. I made these benches and I've made some circular ones, which I don't think we use in this speed build. But yeah, I'll have a link to those on the workshop in the description. And yeah, just kind of added some details in, lots of details, I played around with this. Again, I've got this big transition of height, so it was a little bit daunting at first, but I think it's all going to work. Rather than raise the terrain up here, I decided to play around with the paths. It's always the problem. Anyone who plays Planet Zoo will know the paths are a little bit tricky, and elevated paths when you've got curbs are always a bit of a tricky in the fact that you can't turn off the curbs. You can see there I've got kind of a little nub in the centre of the path, which I end up doing something to hide that away. Doing some lighting. Haven't done much lighting in this one yet. It's a bit of path lighting there. And then this is probably about the third. I guess this is kind of the third part of the speed build. This is working on little kind of custom aviary set. I'm not sure this is quite ready to go up on the workshop yet. I think it needs a bit more work, but this is the first one of these. So building this, what should be a little set for you to create your own aviaries and stuff. Pretty simple. It's just supposed to be like a little mesh frame. Basically, these are kind of handy for just little gap fill areas and little transition sections where you've got, you haven't got a major habitat, but you've got something you can just put in there that's a little bit of a filler. I'm going to keep this one a lot more open than Tigwadu. I think that was one of the things that Tigwadu is very much, everything's kind of packed in because of the scale of the map, whereas this one, I'm not going to worry too much about making things too dense. I will let there be some little bits where they have to walk and stuff. So it's pretty simple. Ended up putting one of the actual build piece roofs on, and then filling in this gap section. So they're like half circles. Comes out all right. Needs a bit of work. I think I'll I'll have to do some work on getting a. I haven't chosen actually what animal's going to go into this yet, so we won't dwell on this too much when we get to the tour. Anyway, peeps. That being said, we are right up against the tour time, so I will join you again in a minute. Right, peeps, welcome back. So, welcome to the tour. So we'll do a bit of a walk around. I'll show you all the bits and pieces and details. There's still a bunch not done. There's still some pieces on this right hand side of the path that are not done. So that is the entrance building. There's some work gone on inside. You can see a big tree. I'm not going to show you that because it's not finished, but that'll be in a future episode. That internal plaza, if you remember, it was sort of circular shaped. So I have to fill in all the internals, and obviously nothing that way yet. But so this is the slope that goes up towards the elephants. So that's all not finished. We'll see that in a flyover. So if we push on along this way, this is the first viewing section. So I brought in a few little details and education signs and some benches and things. I'll let some pause it actually. Yeah, so there they all are hanging out. And this is exactly the image that I had in my head, because what I really like about this is that you get obviously the flamingos down here, but then you also get the flamingos up at that level as well. So you get quite a nice little mixed experience here. And as you saw from the speed build, you didn't see this for very long, but all throughout here there are the what are they called? The foraging pools. So they spend quite a lot of time foraging around in these little ponds and things, which is so nice. I'd forgotten how cool these flamingos actually are. So if we head back around that way, follow this path. Obviously, as I said, everything off to the right is not done. There's going to be some buildings and things there, so we'll kind of keep looking to the left. Oh, there goes a vet. I think that vet might run past us again in a second, because I don't actually have a vet clinic, so I think he's off to somewhere that doesn't quite exist. So these little signs are I think these are up on my workshop. They're at the actual Flamingo. I think that was White Andrews that created that ages ago, and then I've adapted it for my set. So yeah, another little view again. So there's that exactly what I was talking about. You get the upper tier, which is I really like that, because then you get the depth of the habitat. There's quite a lot of detail to see inside the actual habitat, which I didn't include in any of the speed build. That guy's desperately looking around for a vet clinic. So yeah, here's my sort of level up. It's going to be stepping up and then pushing on around that way. So this will all, obviously it all looks a bit weird at the moment because it's not blended in, but it will come. So here is the second tier. So actually this is probably one of my favourite little spots actually now. Little cosy kind of hangout spot. And to see, it says you get the top level view of them up here. And just over the other side of that is a path. So that's the path going up that we saw at the beginning there. So nicely kind of hidden away. You don't get to see the other guests, and you also don't get to see the other guests at the viewing points down there. And I've deliberately kind of made it so that, yeah, you're not really encouraged to be kind of looking over that way. It's all kind of blocked off. So yeah. So let's do inside. See if we can just kind of squeeze through here. So you see that this is all, I kept this all looking kind of like it's the concrete tank. So this is supposed to be a bit more kind of man-made. And then if we come round here, so as you see, the keeper now comes into the habitat quite happily. He comes through that door. He's off down towards the foraging ponds to fill those up. So if we come round here, I'll just show you the inside of this building, and there's a little bit of filtration and stuff. Are you going in? Yeah, so that's where it's quite nice. You can see that they quite happily go in and out. So that's their bedding area. That, as you can see, is the actual door into the habitat. So keepers come in and out of that. And then just around the side here, I did a little kind of implied filtration thing. So there's a, obviously this is not anywhere that the keepers actually really go, but just back here is a little, you know, the filtration systems and stuff for this, for these pools. They all look like they're coming this way. And then if we just head on down this way a little bit further, we'll just take a little walk. So yeah, little slope that they come down. Obviously you don't really see this very much from the guest point of view. We just come down the slope here. So you see that, yeah, the little sections that I've got the water in are just like almost little like tidal pools and things, little rock pools. I think that works out really well. Keep it standing in the water there. So yeah, let's do a little. Oh, there's a nice little swimming spot. It's not too much of that, but there's a nice little swimming spot there. So let's do a little flyover. So as you can see, that's the elephant habitat, which is a really old elephant habitat that I'm repurposing. So you'll see that in a future episode. I think that's working out pretty well. Pretty happy with that. There's my little aviary. I'm not going to show you that at the moment. It's not finished, so you'll see that as well in the future episode. So what I've got here with it all kind of blending in is all going to happen on this side. I'm not quite sure what's going to happen on this side yet. I think this is going to be closed off. So yeah, that's that one, peeps. As I said, apologies, it's a little bit sporadic with the content at the moment. I'm actually about to move home, so quite a lot going on in the worlds. But yes, we have plenty more to come on this. And plenty on Tiggle coming soon as well. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're not already. That's very much appreciated and it's free for you to do. And I shall catch you guys on the next one. Take it easy.